Are we on? You know, there are very few people that I would trust to hold the Cal Championship Office Wrestling belt that I have held proudly for so many years. But this man, Stewie, is the one man in the world I trust to watch my back, to watch my belt. So that's it. So I want to ask you, what are you going to do when Wonderful Willie and Stewie run all over you?
A warm welcome. This is episode 224 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Stu Palmer, of course. I'm waiting in the wings is a massive guest, a huge guest, the son of the great beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow. It's none other than Shane Bigelow on Stu's Wrestling Podcast. How are you doing, Shane?
I'm good, Stu. Thanks for having me on, man. I thought you were going into this is the biggest person we've had fill the screen or something like that. I was like, man, trying to slim down a bit, man. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Shane, your dad, his career, he wrestled everywhere, all the big companies. He was in Japan for years too, man. Just so many memories from him. And I said to you off camera previously, he did his job when he came into WWF in 92 because I was legitimately scared of him at 6 years old. I was frightened, mate.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. So was I, you know. My mom would be like, you see, I'm going to tell your father he's going to come home. And she was the scarier one, though. But, yeah, you were saying that the whole Boss Man storyline. I remember that so well. I remember watching, him throw up and being like, oh, my God. Like, in the ring, it was like, this is real. Yeah, it was scary. I get it.
Seeing a man the size of your dad as well, you know, it's been said so many times, agile, just so crisp. He could get up on the top rope. He could hit a moonsault. He was amazing. He was amazing for his size. And he could wrestle anybody. All shapes and sizes. He could do it. The matches, you go through the matches, just amazing.
So he had such an amazing athletic background. His amateur wrestling was where, you know, the cartwheels comes from Neptune High School Wrestling and his old coach Bobby Tiedemann. You know, they used to have to do cartwheels and somersaults and backflips and all this stuff, and it's like, you know, he could walk on his hands as a teenager, and I'm sure he could have done it as an adult. Like, they're just things that he could do physically with his size and with his body. You know, he was a real big proponent of being like, yo, you're going to be this size, but you got to move like a guy half your size. And that he was, you know, he was always keeping the feet moving, always, you know, his athleticism was freakish in every sport, everything he did. It was, you know, one of a kind, things that people will never see again.
He did arm wrestling as well, didn't he, in his younger days?
Yeah. And like, he didn't really, I mean, I'm sure he told me about this, but a lot of these stories and things that I find out about the legacy of my father prior to, you know, being Bam Bam Bigelow, I was walking into the flea market one day and there was this massive 6'9" guy, and he was his name was Ronnie Bass, and he used to have this it was really funny. He used to have this Bob Ross little TV show on public access. It used to be called Ass by Bass. He was a big black dude. He used to paint on the ass cheeks of jeans. He used to paint like water scenes, man. And I'm walking through, and he's like, "You Scott Bigelow's son?" And when anybody ever says that, I know they know him prior to Bam Bam. We start talking, and he's telling me, he goes, "I used to arm wrestle with your father back in the day." He goes, "Man, your father's such a great guy." He's telling me all these stories. He goes, his career ended because he broke our sponsor's son's arm. Right? They said they were around one night. They were all getting boozed up. It was late night, and the kid was talking all this trash. He's like, "I could arm wrestle you." And Ronnie's sitting there looking at my father. My father's, you know, quiet guy. He'll let you talk a little bit. And gets up, you know, goes through, gets on the arm, and Ronnie says, he looks over to me, and Ronnie's like that slow motion no, and he just does one of these like over the top twists, snaps his arm right across here, lost his sponsorship, and that was the end of his career. But he's documented as taking second in the worlds in, I forget the year, in '80s, right? He lost to the guy who was like the main dude and over the top. The names are failing me right now, but he was really up there, legitimately up there, and like he's a big scary dude. So yeah, arm wrestling, just the tip of this, just the beginning of it.
Many years later, he's there with the great Antonio Inoki in Japan, having a bit of an arm wrestle. Shane, this is photos that you've sent over, man. I love all these photos you sent.
Yeah, I wish I had more. I wish I had so much. I covered the things that I have, but he adored Inoki. He loved Japan so much. That was his favorite. He would just be over there, and the culture and he loved going walking around. He'd go to little Plinko arcades and play around. And he loved working for Inoki. He loved New Japan. He loved it all. Like that was his favorite, was going there. He went there probably. I documented, I'm pretty sure 80 something times easily.
So cool. Just so cool. You know what as well, Shane? It took me years later to realize he had a first run in the WWF. I didn't know for many, many years. I only knew as a kid from '92. I was unaware of the first run. So yeah, he was there early doors, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he took a lot of heat for that. You kind of in that business at the time. You had to earn your way up, and him rising so quickly. I think he was rookie of the year in like '86, '87, and then he was right on the WWF card with Hogan, Ken Patera, and I forget who else, but it was against Andre and that whole team in the Survivor Series. So you're getting pushed quick and early. I could see that creating a lot.
All the managers were after him as well when he first came in. He was a hot commodity coming in. Jesse Ventura was involved with it, of course. You had Jimmy Hart, Heenan. You had them all. Obviously, ended up being Oliver Humperdinck, of course. But just that side of it was cool as well, looking back at that.
Yeah, Oliver was great. Towards right before Oliver Humperdinck passed away, he would message me on Facebook, and we would always talk back and forth. And he'd always sign off with "See you later, Humperdinck." Like he's such a nice guy. My mom loved him. I told her, she was like, "Oh, tell Oliver I said hello." And he spoke so highly of my father in that time. And the pairing with them was really like Oliver was such an elder statesman, and he knew kind of how to position the talent, and really, it was a means of finding a voice box for Bam Bam Bigelow, being that initial manager and being able to present him and allow him to just show his talents off. And, the rest is history. I mean, he ended up going on to Ted DiBiase and Luna Vachon, everybody. It just moved on from there.
I got a photo from '87 here, of course. he's on the sax for Stand Back, of course, from the Slammies of 1987. So just around that time, of course, when he was in for the first run. But just that's amazing. What a photo.
It's the best. I love the internet because like it never fails. Like, so somebody made this, obviously it's meant to look like a Topps card. And I've had family members go like, "I didn't know he played saxophone." I'm like, yo, don't believe everything you see on the internet. Like the music video, everything, but he wanted to be the saxophone man because he loved Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band and Clarence Clemens on the sax. That was his guy. Like when we would go to the Springsteen concerts all the time in Asbury Park. Like I still live the town next to it, So like when Springsteen and those guys would play locally or even at PNC or the places around here, the arenas, he would go see them. So like sax man, Clarence Clemens, and he used to be a bouncer for local bands and really famous local bands when Bruce and those guys were getting started. And some of my extended family were in that. So the Jersey Shore is strong. So he had to toot that horn.
Definitely, definitely. Amazing, amazing. So many photos that I need to pump in here. So I think there will be stuff at random.
Oh yeah, always random.
I'll pump them in, Shane.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a thumbs up, man. The crooked thumb. My mom made fun of me forever about that. But that was that Harley right there was a limited edition Cow Glide. I believe either one way or another, it was either Hulk Hogan saw that bike and bought one of his own because he liked the pattern on it. It was called the Harlequin. It had like the black and white cow print pattern in the seats, or vice versa. My father saw Hogan had that, but I know him and Hogan had the same bike at the time. And man, he was so happy. That's in Asbury Park, probably 91, 2. Man, good old times. I actually got that picture up behind me, standing next to that bike right there. If you guys can see, here we go. I got the Ninja Turtle outfit. Yeah, man, we always were rocking out with the crooked thumb. And then me and him rocking the bike. Man, we crashed that thing a few times.
The original Ninja Turtles, none of these reboot ones I try and watch with my son now. I'm with you. I'm with you. Saturday mornings here in the UK. It was on proper cartoons when we were growing up, Shane.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he sat right there with me. When he was home, he might have got off a red eye, sitting there with ice packs on his knees, watching Ninja Turtles. We watched the Ghostbusters together, even when the Ghostbusters had their cartoons. Good old days, man.
Them are the days. Them are the days. I'm with you, mate. I'm with you totally. On the quads.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was his favorite thing. So, like, we didn't sit in the house, man. Those quads, we were in cornfields. We were ripping them through. So the person in the middle, that's my brother, Scott. We call him Colton because my father's name is Scott, so we didn't want to get it confused. But in an Italian household, you're called the dog's name, the cat's name, everybody but your own before they get to it. But we would always be in the cornfield behind the house. We had about an acre, and then it backed up. Now there are developments, but we'd rip through there. We'd go mudding, we'd go quadding, and that was his favorite thing. That was that quad that he's sitting on right there. That was his 40th birthday present, and he was a big hunter, big outdoorsman. He loved it. That was some of the best times we had together. Were outside when he was home, and there was no wrestling involved whatsoever.
Being dad. That's
the
ultimate thing.
And it was like we were all just like a bunch of dumb bros out there, like he was out there just figuring it out, learning how to ride a motorcycle, flipping a quad. We were doing it all, and it was cool.
Amazing. Shane, gonna fast forward a bit into your dad's career.
Yeah.
His matches with Bret. Now, I've said extensively for over 200 episodes of this show that Bret is my favorite of all time. Got to meet him in New Jersey, actually, at WrestleCon. I was out in New Jersey for WrestleMania. So I went to MetLife that year in 2013. Got to finally meet him. Couldn't muster up a sentence in front of Bret. But the matches with him and your dad, especially at King of the Ring, the final, but also the match from Barcelona in Spain, which predated that in the April, that is a gem of a match as well. They were absolutely superb in there together.
Yeah, recently I saw an off television match of him and Bret in Italy doing that whole same routine that they did in Barcelona, probably the 2 weeks after, which they ended up doing, live. And they work so well. I mean, my father, he's a team player and a gamer. Like, he's all about safety and showmanship. And Bret, that's his biggest thing, man. He's always out there, and I've seen a lot of podcasts where he's spoke very highly. He's like, I love working with Bigelow because he's a giant teddy bear. Like, you think about like wrestling around, like, it's easy to sell because you can really lay into him, and he's going to take a little bit more, and then you got a little bit of cushion. We're big dudes, so he loved him, and Bret was always great to me. I remember fondly sitting backstage, and Bret Hart doing his whole spiel and coming off, and the sunglasses. You remember the sunglasses, the single pane sunglasses that he used to have, and he would give me a pair of those, and every kid in the stands had them. It was just funny because I saw a podcast a couple of days ago with like Will Sasso and all those comedians. They were talking about pranking Ric Flair, and Ric Flair's like, I sold tickets, you sold sunglasses, and I was like, yo, those sunglasses were so bad. But like I remember getting them from Bret Hart, and like he would sign them on the pane, and the ones that he like actually wore, it was he was so sweet, so nice, and like would just sit there and he would talk to you like, "What's up, big man?" And he always had wet hair. That's all I just like vividly remember from him, features wise. I'm like, this guy is always wet. He's always got wet hair, just curls.
The whole thing at King of the Ring as well, your dad was fresh going into the final because he had no semi-final match. There was a double count out in the bit of a match. So storyline and how it was done, it was like Brett's not going to come out of this winning. It's Bigelow's for the taking. It surely is. Just perfectly done how they did that building up to it, into that final.
Yeah, that's where they did the promo with the light in the match, right? Leading up to that with the lighter in Bret Hart's face and flamed him out and stomped him out. That was never aired. It now is showing up online. People tagging me in it. And what's funny about that is I remember sitting in like the living room, and it was flash paper. So it was like 4-inch square piece of paper that you lit it, it went instantly. So, he had it in the hand, he had the lighter, and you see him click it and it flips. And like, he must have probably singed all of my mother's bangs off at some point in time by just like flashing her, be like, you were got to be on your toes in the Bigelow household. But yeah.
I've got a great photo here, an absolutely fantastic photo that you sent me. So it's around that time, it's like probably 93, 94, this one. With Yoko, with the great Yokozuna, mate, with the Winged Eagle belt, the nicest belt, along with the original Intercontinental title belt for me.
Beautiful. I look like a young Yokozuna there, man. Rocking it. That's sitting on the back porch of our house. That's where we rode quads. And whenever they would have shows locally, whether it was Madison Square Garden, they would do Philly shows. Those guys are on the road so much. Sometimes they want to just sleep in a regular bed, or get a home cooked meal, or in this case, just kind of hang out on the back porch and just be a normal person for a day. And that porch probably had about 5,000 pounds of Samoan on it. It's not just Yokozuna. You had the Head Shrinkers, you had Alpha Sika. Those guys lived in the tri-state area. They were always, I remember distinctly like watching the largest Samoans I've ever seen in my life carry a giant pig into my backyard, dig a pit, bury that pig, go do a show, and then come back and drink beers around a freaking giant open pit, 12, 13 hours later. Like my father was one of the boys, one of the bros, that was his group. That was his gang. That whole Hanoi family, he adored them. Yeah.
A brotherhood, which, we can only wonder, can't we, how close those guys were, and the miles. I always say about this to the guys that come on, the amount of miles they were doing, being away from you guys, the family, just all that, the mental toll, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you get your group, and the miles there. I don't think that you talk to truck drivers and stuff like that. I don't think there's a town in the United States that these wrestlers, like if you put a group of 4 or 5 of them in a room together, be like, I know that town. Like we didn't fly anywhere when we went on vacations. When he was home, he wanted to go to Wildwood, or we'd go to Tennessee, because we'd stop in this town. He'd stop in this town for a night. He liked it here. Oh, I want to go fishing in this river. So like the amount of miles and stuff on the road, he had Ray Apollo, who's my brother's godfather, who was the last iteration of Doink the Clown when they were doing WrestleMania 11 and doing that whole spiel. Those were the road. That was his road partner for a good amount of time. They drove everywhere. Him, Luna. They had Dink in the back. They cranked that AC, literally down to as cold as it can go and turn it up as high as it can go. And they would just freeze everybody out in Lincoln Continental, driving from town to town to town, up and down and up and down. And they have more stories of sitting in a gas station than they do actually sitting in, the house. So it does take a mental toll, and it's tough on families. My mom did a really great job in just keeping us busy. We were always in sports. We were always doing stuff. And whenever he was home, you'd hit a base hit, and then you'd see him walking down the first baseline. He just got back from Malaysia for 3 weeks. He didn't miss much in the sense of athletics when he was home and stuff for us. So, I had a great family. They filled the gaps in, and if you wanted to see Dad, you could turn on a Sega Genesis and go beat him up for a little bit.
The best console. It's still my favorite to this day, mate. I had Royal Rumble. I did have Royal Rumble on cartridge back in the day. Yeah.
Oh man.
The kids today, they can just download a game and it's done. Give me physical copies, Shane.
That's it. And he loved video games too. Like, he would come home and he'd stay up all night. We got a Sega Genesis, we got a Nintendo 64, but we didn't get to play it for probably a month because he was like, "Do not touch it. It's paused. I got 116 stars. I'm about to get him." Like, yeah, GoldenEye. It was like, dude, he was such a big kid, and it was so much fun, and everybody loved him and adored him, and it was just great times. Great times.
Was GoldenEye's favorite game?
I have to say, no, he liked Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was really into it, man. He was stuck in the sand pyramid level for so long, and this was before the days of going online and being like, how do I got to do this? And I'm telling you, I'd go to bed at night and he'd be on that same level with the music playing, wake up in the morning and he'd still be in just the living room like, I can't get up on top of this sand thing. So those games, all that first iteration of N64 games, he loved them. Oh, he loved them so much. He'd play them all night long.
Amazing. I'm going to pop another photo up, mate. I'm going to pop another photo up. We've got to get these photos up because they're so cool.
Oh, man. Go ahead.
There we go. With the World Heavyweight title of ECW, of course. He beat Shane Douglas for that title. This cracking photo, mate.
I questioned whether I should send you this photo because I'm gonna get heat. The silver chain, the fuzzy shirt. They're probably Janko jeans on. Oof, man, I look like the child from freaking Sopranos. But yeah, dude, right in the kitchen. They got to bring the belts home, bring it around. That was a cool one. I loved that belt. They were cool to see. That's my brother right there. If anybody in the family we thought was going to be like a wild man wrestler, I thought it was going to be him. Like, that smile and that look, like I would envision him being like a Braun Breaker type now. Just power. Yeah. And that's one of the rare photos of him with a belt and his clothes on because he was a nature boy.
What a fantastic run he had in ECW as well. Just incredible. Like, Spike Dudley, Spike Dudley got the W in that match as well. That was your dad. He would put people over as well, wouldn't he? He really would.
Yeah, like he was all about, let's break little conventions. Let's let the little guy win. Let's give him that push. I remember vaguely that there was directions when he was in the WWF to not really get in and wrestle Dink. And obviously, because he would have tortured him and it would have been, just horrible at the time. But like conceptually, why not let Dink beat him once, in a little house show? And that's the same premise with Spike. Spike was willing to take a beating to where, like, I was in the stands when when he started throwing him into the crowd, Spike, and doing that whole bit. I was in the stands one time. He takes him and he's got him overhead pressed over his head, and he just takes him and just kind of dumps him into the turnbuckle. But Spike ends up either eating the turnbuckle a little bit too hard or digging himself just like way too deep, right? And he's just pouring blood, and they throw him in the crowd, and the people catch him because there was a couple guys that were kind of situated up front, but it wasn't guaranteed that he was going to hit the spot. And they're crowd surfing him, and I just remember him bleeding like profusely from his head. And these people were so worried for Spike's like safety and well-being. Like there was not a single person in that arena that wasn't like holy shit. And I just remember watching Spike bleed, and he selling it and probably hurting like hell. And then like the pop for him to just like come back with that like the glasses and that whole like bushwhacker-esque walk, and just really just have that just like look like Kurt Cobain, and my face is cut open probably like Kurt Cobain. Sorry. And dude, it was great. He loved it. Him, RBD, he didn't care. You know, he had his success, and it wasn't about, you know, it's not a records thing. It's not it's what's best for the business.
The matches hold up today. All his matches, they truly do. They truly do. He was ahead of his time. There's no question of that. And as we were saying earlier, it was the different types of guys, the different types of styles. He could adapt, couldn't he? He could adapt to every style. No problem at all.
He loved it. Like he really liked in Japan because they had a little bit more of a shoot style wrestling, so it was faster paced. There's more on top of you. It kind of matched his amateur wrestling, and he was able to. So if you watch early on in the 80s, he's doing cartwheels under Andre the Giant. You know, he's popping up. He's doing the whole shimmy. He's popping his feet. That's a very Japanese-esque. Like he just always, he can match anybody's style, and he could also elevate yours just because he's one of those guys that can improvise. I mean, he was smart. He knew how to balance his body, how he could adjust, how things, how he can move and to manipulate and not injure somebody. That's the big thing. Anybody could go out there and throw themselves off the top rope, but like, can you do it repeatedly? And even if you can do it as a professional, it's still going to wear and tear on those joints. So
we've got to tie in this photo from New Japan as well, with Big Van Vader as IWGP Tag Team Champions. I don't think anybody would want to get in the ring with these two, although the Steiners got in there. I've watched a match of the Steiners recently from New Japan, and they're in there and they're going toe-to-toe with one another. But oh my days, what a sight this is.
That, and look at my father's knuckles on his right hand. Like that's a street fight. Like you don't get those bloody knuckles like that pulling punches. Like look at his lip. I mean, I sent you a photo later on. You end up seeing Vader's face with the big old black eye. Like, dude, those boys were taking a beating. Right there he's questioning life right there, my father. He's looking at it like, oh shit.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, them two, man, crazy. And just like you say, the amount of times he was over in Japan, he did so much in Japan, didn't he? This is years later for me, finding out where he'd been, just amazing. And, Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW as well. He was doing the two, wasn't he? He was doing that at the time too.
Yeah, he liked the freedom to be able to bounce around. I feel he knew his worth and he knew his talent, and he kept that option open to be able to have to go back when he had his downtime, and staying in the independents a little bit longer and holding out. He didn't necessarily have to be in the WWF. He was really only in the WWF, WWE now, 5 years actually, 88, 89, and then 92, 93, 94. ECW was a longer run, more likely. Japan was probably the longest, spread over time. But WCW, 85, 86, 87, he might have been in there quickly, and then he went back when AOL, right before AOL bought them out.
I've got to talk about a match that was held in high esteem because of your father. You got in there with LT, Lawrence Taylor of the NFL at WrestleMania 11, of course, and just the praise he was given, doing that match, and how he got LT through that match as well. And it was just such a good match, mate.
Yes, it was a great match. You read the comments, and everybody's a keyboard warrior and criticize, but my father used to always say he can make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and LT, I ran into him several times over the years after that, and he always praises like the athleticism that your father had, and one of the best athletes I've ever been around. And for Lawrence Taylor to say that takes a lot. He could say a lot worse. Yeah, a lot about a lot of people, and my father was so happy to work with him, and they created a real great bond and friendship, and the build up to that, Lawrence Taylor got a real respect for the amount of just physicality that is in WWE, that goes into that, because football is a really high impact sport for 5 to 7 seconds at a time. Try to wrestle for 15 to 20 minutes in the main event when every single body's looking at you. On a football field, you can hide a little bit. You might be able to take a play off or whatever. It's wrestling, man. It's spotlights are on you. And, to carry him through that, and LT did his job, man. And look at it now. If it was a horrible failure, I don't know if very many athletes would still be able to proceed to do that after it. To bring
the fact it went on last as well. It was the main event. You had Shawn and Diesel, for the title. I mean, that's big, and they put that on your dad's shoulders, and look what he was able to do. Do you know what I mean? Because that is massive. It's just huge that was main event.
Yeah, it's people who are real like historians. WrestleMania started with Mr. T. Like Mr. T in the main event. Hulk Hogan, like it's always had. Mike Tyson is in the Hall of Fame of WWE. Like there's always been a celebrity presence, even going into the WCW years. Dennis Rodman left the freaking NBA Finals to go be a part of the NWO. Like it's the most badass crossovers. Like there's no other world you could do that. It's awesome. I love it, and I love that Dad cemented a little bit of his legacy in that, the main event at WrestleMania. You can't take that back. You can't take that away from somebody ever.
Keyboard warriors, Shane, who've never got in the ring, and if they had 1% of what your dad had, do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Opinion, of course. But a lot of these people have never stepped foot in the ring. I've never stepped foot in the ring. That's why I'm behind the microphone. Do you know what I mean? That they just need to, not comment half the time, these people, because they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue what it takes to do what your dad did.
Yeah, and I am not even qualified myself to speak upon that. I can only tell you the stories of being a child in the eyes and watching these guys, in their 30s, just literally getting to watch the behind the scenes that you guys are now sitting down, like the whole thing, like sitting down, getting ready for the documentary. It's like, I was there, I saw that, I've seen that, I've gotten a little bit of taste of it. So yeah, people can't talk, but keep talking, man. Everybody talks until you're there face to face, and my father was such a presentable guy that even people that were talking shit to him, they'd be able to talk to you, and at the end they'd be like, "Oh man, I really like that guy. I just hate his character." It's showmanship.
He was doing his job. He was doing his job, is what he was doing, mate. To elicit that response, because a lot of guys in the business today can't. They just haven't got it. They haven't got it. That's not me poo-pooing current wrestling. because I do watch, but not to the extent I used to watch. But, you know, to have a character like your dad had and to do it for a number of years that he did, you know, that's the holy grail, isn't it?
It's great, you know, and it's awesome that you can go online and watch it. But there's a lot of sacrifice to that, you know. With the good, we could sit back in the glory days, but there was a decent amount of pain and sacrifice that a lot of us had to do just to get where we are now.
Tackling opponents was one thing. I've got a photo here. He's tackling a sub, and I don't think this is a foot-long sub either. This is bigger.
Oh, yeah.
That could be his biggest opponent ever, that.
Oh, nah. That's him in his element right there, man. When he was home, we're on the boat, on the water, dirty hands and all, freaking slamming a sub. That was a Food Town special, man. My mom would go out and get like 6 subs. The cooler would be filled with subs and ice. And we had ourselves a good time with his Wiz hat on. The Wiz. Remember that like Best Buy store? I don't know if you guys had that, but that's him, man, in his element. Oh, yeah.
What would be your favorite match of your dad's? If I know, trying to put it down to one, but what would be the one that you'd watch over and over again?
Taz, ECW, Living Dangerously, Asbury Park. That's without a doubt, hands down, my favorite. That's actually one of the few matches that I can really distinctly remember, like vividly being in the stands, and we were in the top row. And the convention hall in Asbury Park is a small, you know, 20s, 30s style basketball arena. It's just like a bowl. So every seat's really good in there. So we were up at the top, and to get that like drone, to make it, you know, today's perspective, a drone's eye view of that, it was awesome. I mean, the Lawrence Taylor match, I remember the lead up and the build up and the spectacle more than I remember physically being in the stands and watching the match. I remember Salt and Pepper more than that. But, you know, that's just me.
I've got some of the photos here as well. Yes. Now we're talking.
That's the only piece of anything I have, or we have, I should say. Which is funny story about that jacket. He used to call that the tulip jacket because he kind of looked like he had a bunch of tulips. And he wore that before WrestleMania. He didn't wear that to WrestleMania. That's actually not the jacket that he wore coming out for Lawrence Taylor. He wore his motorcycle jacket coming out of WrestleMania. But that right there, when we were, I don't know, probably about 7, 8 years ago, one of the WWE guys reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to do, it was for MetLife. So you might have seen the jacket. He's like, we want to put together a display of, you know, some of your father's stuff. Do you have any ring gear? I'm like, no, I don't. Unfortunately, that's another story. But I do have the flame jacket. He's like, you have the flame jacket? No. And then he like, his tone changed. And he's like, normally the talent doesn't take the flame jacket home. I was like, well, talent, you weren't telling him not to. And he ended up getting that made. That was made from a shop down in Tampa, Florida that specializes in bondage leather. So it was really good stuff, man. You could really tug on it, and it was firm. But yeah, that's the only thing I got. So every once in a while, you know, throw that on, strut around the house.
I think I would have seen it. You were saying about like WrestleMania 29 weekend. I think it was at MSG or it was at East Rutherford at the arena. I think it was at the Izod Center because they had the big statue with Andre. They had so much stuff there. Normally the conventions, you know, were in a convention center. It was weird going into an arena to see all the stuff, all the old articles, like.
Oh yeah, they had all that stuff. Oh, Mr. Dusty Rhodes.
Mike Raimondi. Obviously, I am Facebook friends with him.
I love Mike.
The guys that do the cosplaying, the Macho verse, the guy who does Triple H as well. They do such a great job. They really do. They go everywhere, don't they? Dressed up, doing all the shtick.
The funniest thing. So that is at New York Comic Con, right? And my buddy's like, dude, we gotta go. He went the year before. He's like, we gotta go. They had a big. This was before Fanatics had purchased WWE and the rights and stuff like that. So the year prior, there was a much bigger wrestling showing there. So we went there and like we kind of stood. And my buddy kind of stood on like the outskirts, and like a little Spike Dudley comes by, and then all this. And so I had followed Mike Raimondi before that, and my buddy was like, "Oh, Dusty Rhodes impersonator," and the guy that took the picture is the Triple H impersonator and the Iron Sheik impersonator. So we're like sitting around, and I'm talking to those guys. Mike's so cool, man, and he's got nothing but love and respect, and he does that out of respect with honor of Dusty Rhodes and the family, and they love it. I mean, come on, man, he's walking around talking like Dusty, and the whole time we were just BSing, and my buddy who's a huge wrestling freak, he's like standing there, and I'm like, do you want to take a picture with these guys? And they were actually asking me, they were like, would you like to see somebody in a Bam Bam cosplay? I'm like, brother, I would love that. Like that would be the coolest shit in the world. Like, people send me all the time. On my Instagram, I always, you follow me, I always repost pictures like this, but they'll send me, like a baby dressed up like Bam Bam Bigelow. Like it's just like really fun stuff, man. So I love it. And even like that shirt I have on, some guy made that, sent it to me. I was like, hell yeah, wear me a soccer jersey. Let's go. There's my buddy who's the super fan. Mike. But so we ended up running into Godfather and talking a little bit. He was really good friends with my father. My father was actually one of the guys that they kind of used as an example to get him to start wrestling. He was a bouncer, biker, working in the clubs, and they're like, "You see that dude over there? He made $100,000 last year." And 80s and 90s is like, "Oh, I could do that." And he's all about that smoke train. My father is a big old smoker, so they got along real well. It was cool to see those guys.
It's great when he's been doing Godfather and Papa Shango, because when he came over to Manchester the year before last for the For Love of Wrestling, so one day he did Godfather. The day I went on the Sunday, he was Papa Shango, and they had the Nation of Domination over for it. They had Ron, they had D'Lo, they had Mark, and obviously they had the Godfather as well. Just incredible, like seeing these guys get over here as well.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, you guys are a little bit behind. It's like you didn't have a lot of videos you're watching are all VHSs and tapes and going back and almost like having to relive like a decade in there. And it's part of me is a little jealous of that, and part of me is like, damn, you guys missed out on some like prime time stuff.
I didn't get ECW till later. Like Bravo had it later on, Bravo the UK version. So we got it later. So yeah, it was a case of going back. I was buying VHS tapes off Amazon, Shane, ECW ones.
Yeah.
I truly was, like Living Dangerously 99. I had a few others, and I'd watch them, mate. It was because I didn't know about a lot of the stuff that was going on. I knew like when they came in 97 to Raw, they invaded and stuff like that. But even then, we didn't get it. We didn't get ECW in its purest form.
Yeah, and like kind of jealous to be able to go back and be like, you guys get to watch the whole. It's like watching the whole series in one and just binging it. And I'm so grateful for all the guys that reach out to me, and I'm like, they're like, I watched this 2015. I'm like, yo, man, that was like 25 years before that.
It's a treasure trove. I always term it that. When you find new stuff, even to this day, even still images from events that people had taken. There's loads from Pontiac, from the Silverdome, from people's cameras when Hogan and Andre were in the ring, and that old style camera, like an old Kodak camera or whatever they had. And you'll still find stuff you haven't seen today, which is just amazing for us.
There's so much like that even the best thing about, like, I can't stand social media, but like seeing reels and people find archival footage. Not long ago, within the last year, somebody sent me archival footage of Andre the Giant's last match in Mexico, and sure enough, it's a 3-man tag with my father there. And like seeing my father and like Andre kind of struggle to get in the ring, and my father like so youthful and like being like really chipper because knowing that it's like Andre's thing, and he's like hamming it up to the crowd, and it's kind of, you know, in retrospect, it's bittersweet, not bittersweet, but it's cool to see because, you know, he almost choked my father out of the business in the beginning, and for them to kind of come full circle, and for my father to be in the last match with Andre the Giant is and I continue to find things more and more. And people, I got this one, I got one buddy down in Australia, and Dan B. He sends me all these New Japan clips, all these pictures, black and white photos, them sitting there eating squid at a 7-Eleven in Japan, or going to the Ribera. It's just like, I love it, and I save it all, and I'll never sit and not listen to a person's story, because the wrestling stories are cool, but I got so many more that I run to people at the supermarket. Like my grandmother used to watch your father Saturday mornings in Memphis. Like it's just, it's so surreal, and such an honor, you know, to have that.
He lives on.
Yeah.
Your dad lives on, mate. He truly does. He truly does. And so he should. So he should.
Yes, he should.
Absolutely. Shane, I'm going to bring it to you now for this portion and your day-to-day life. You are in special education as a teacher over there in America. So yeah, let's bring it over to you. Let's put a bit of the onus on you on this chat, you know?
All right. So I'm going to preface this because, right, you'll put this on YouTube after.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So all my students sitting in class watching this, and they're looking up and they're like, "Is this you?" No, that's a doppelganger of me. I have 0 tattoos. I'm not this cool. I teach language arts and biology. But no, I love it. I got into it because I really like the coaching aspect. I played a little college football. My brother was a really good amateur wrestler. I did a little track in high school, so I started coaching football and got into student teaching. My mother's a teacher. She teaches special ed, and she's like, they need men in the field. They started me in a behavioral trailer chasing kids down the highway, and I worked my way into mainstream education, and I love it. But now I'm transitioning. I'm starting to work with the 18 to 21 program, kind of helping them work their way into, you know, getting a job, building a resume, having those life skills. And it's basically just me standing in front of a class, kind of like Sam Kinison in Back to School, just screaming at kids. And no, I enjoy it. So I'll take them out to ShopRite. I'll take them out to food stores. We'll go organize shelves. And the good thing about it is it gives me every holiday off. I've been off since June 20th. I don't got to go back till September 1st. I've been fishing on the boat every day. It's a good life. I enjoy teaching.
The work-life balance that everyone's looking for.
I'm still looking for it.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm still looking for it. It's a dead sprint from September to June, and then from June to September, it's like, if you don't know where to find me, I'm somewhere offshore. Me and my brother, we're doing what my father would do, and probably not checking the weather. Coast Guard bringing us back in, but hey, man, if you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough.
My sister's a teacher, so that's what she does. That's her vocation. She's very good. It was the perfect job for her. No question. Saying that, school holidays. My son's been off since the 17th of July. They don't go back to the 7th of September. He's pushing buttons, that boy, at the moment. Let me tell you. Now I know what my mum and dad were going through when we were kids and we were off for like 6-7 weeks. It's hard. He needs that school structure. school. He needs it. He truly does.
I get a little antsy if there's a little too much space and opportunity. I start getting a little squirrely, in the good old Bigelow fashion. Trust me, there's some shenanigans is bound to happen, but it's all in good fun. But I like that structure and I need it because eventually, if feeling froggy, we're gonna leap eventually, and
I'm gonna throw some more photos in, like just closing out now because there's so many, and like they're amazing. They're so good, mate.
Oh, this right here. Not many people know about this. This is a deleted scene from a movie in the '90s called Joe's Apartment. Right, Joe's Apartment. It was I forget the actor, but like a cockroach starts talking to him, and they end up taking it over. But he's the boss, and he's firing him there. He's like, "You're fired." But they cut it out the movie. So that's his Joe's Apartment cameo. That's my brother. So my father lied and said that my brother was older than what he was in order to get him wrestling. And my father kind of told the rec club, like, "Hey man, I'll come out, I'll work with you. I'll be one of the coaches." And he was standing right in the corner. And I think he had to be like 5 years old. My brother might have been 4 years old. Him and his buddy PJ were underage, and they were out there like two goofballs lighting it up. But that's one of that right there is my father's probably him at his happiest right there.
Yeah, he looks. You can just see it. You can just see how happy he is in that one, mate. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Really good photo. Really good photo.
So this is him with hair. So everybody's like, "Oh, did he go bald?" No, he actually still had hair, and he grew it out from time to time. When he was home, it would look like a weird, like buzz cut with tattoos underneath. In the middle is my Grandma Diane. I believe this was at one of her second weddings, maybe. And then to the left, recently deceased, my father's older brother, Toddy. Toddy right there, that guy. So me and my brother are kind of very similar to my father and Toddy. I'm 6'2", my father was 6'2", 6'3". Toddy's, 5'8", 5'9". But Toddy was a great amateur wrestler, badass dude. He was like a second, third degree black belt. He was just one of those guys, man. He had a big smile. He had everybody laughing. He was, catcalling all the girls. He was the creepy uncle. He used all my mom's Pantene Pro V. And she was so pissed off, she kicked him out of the house when he would shampoo. But rest in peace, Toddy. My grandmother is still kicking. Poor lady. She watched all of her sons pretty much pass. My Uncle Billy's still kicking somewhere down in Florida. But poor Grandma Diane. She was a sweetheart. She had that smile, that laugh. She had the toughest freaking three boys probably in the state of New Jersey, I would venture to say. Her husband too. Oh man, look at that little monster. So that dog right there is a Shar-Pei. My dad got that. His name is Kabuki. My dad got him from Japan. He brought him home, sat him on his lap. That's me. That ugly mug. I still kind of look the same. My mom, one of the iterations of her hairstyle, and then that's dad, man, all golded out with his pinky ring, his bracelet, his gold necklace. He got the aviators. Man, what's the comment say? It says Bigelow and their baby monster. Yeah. I'm a Bigelow and baby monster. Oh, I even commented and said, "Damn, that kid looks tough." But look at this. I want Brody. So when I don't know the years that align. So if you look down in the bottom right, this is a Paul Heyman photo. So Paulie Heyman put on a show to showcase Bam Bam Bigelow at Studio 54. And it was one of Paulie's first big events. And he was taking pictures and he was writing for magazines, and they were trying to push for Brody, and that inevitably didn't happen because of you could watch a Dark Side of the Ring and see, but they wanted to try to pair them up, and that would have been something else. We would probably have seen that in Japan.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Such a shame. Such a shame that didn't, happen.
My sister sent me this. So around here, there's barbecue places. There's so many different places that have like a Bam Bam Burger or Bam Bam Chili. And what's kind of funny about this is my father was a jokester. He'd always be laughing, and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, that Bam Bam Chili, it'll tear your butthole up, put your chili ring on fire." Like it's just, I laugh at this because it's so apropos for him. He was that kind of guy. Like, and I was like, my sister's named Richie. I'm like, "Did you get it?" She's like, "No, I don't do spicy." I'm like, "Oh, come on.
You got to try it.
You got to do one."
She doesn't like heat, and that's fine. But yeah. That's a cool one. Man. This is a cool one.
Yeah, this is like the element. This is him. Every picture, he got a big old dip in his lip, and he out there fluking. He loved fluking, man. I still live, in the Shark River area. We would go rent these boats from the same marina that my grandfather went to in the 50s and 60s when he got back from Korea. We'd rent these little boats with little gas engines, and there'd be like 1,000-pound. These three guys were big dudes. Myself as a chubby little baby, and my mother's father and my father's father all in this little dinghy, and it would probably be about 4 inches above the water, but we would be in the back bays. We'd be fluking left and right, and that's what me and my brother do now, keeping it alive.
Yeah, carries on to the next generation. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's so cool.
This right here, this place was a rock quarry that my father's friend Howie had owned and bought, and I guess something had happened to it when they were mining the quarry out. They hit a water spring, and it ended up filling up. So that's a few hundred feet deep. That's in the Carolinas, I believe. And he used to love going out there because it was a 270 degrees of just like 80-foot rock face, and they'd get drunk and jump off of little cliffs and stuff like that. But he loved being in the out and alone, and it was super, super clean water. And he was actually a real avid diver. And I believe a few times he would bring his dive gear down there, and if you dove deep enough, you could see the trucks that were still on the bottom of that quarry, and obviously fishing. And that's my brother right there, with his many fish photos. And like I said, you could see he was a wild man then. Oh, this is us all grown up. So this is the set. My brother, my sister, and myself, my brother Colton, my sister Richie. I'm 5 years older than my brother, 10 years older than my sister. This was the picture we took on the front step of the house they rented for the Vice documentary, because my mom was like, "You gonna get us makeup? You gonna get us hair? Where are we gonna film this?" And they were like, "We thought we were gonna do it in your living room." She said, "No." So they ended up renting this house and filming in this house that looked like a half of a recording studio. It was pretty cool, but this is one of my favorite photos of the three of us.
It's nice, man. It's nice. Shane, it has been an absolute honor and a privilege hearing about your dad, hearing about you, what you do day to day in your day job, you having chill time over the summer as well. But thank you for sending all the photos that you sent. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I love your dad's stuff. As I've said, it's just been great learning more about your dad from you, your personal stuff about your dad. I really appreciate you sharing all the stories, mate.
Yeah, I love talking about it. It keeps his legacy alive, and through you guys and everybody listening. And you guys want to hear my stories and talk a little trash, man, hit me up online. I'm always open to hear, you reached out to me. You're like, your father scared me to death as a child. I was like, he did. I love that. And it's something great. If I can't have my father, I want this. And I appreciate this, and I appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me on. And I would love to do it again, because we got stories for days.
Absolutely. Shane, where can the viewers and listeners find you in terms of social media?
Facebook, Instagram, Big Low 78, Big _ Low 78. You guys can friend request me. I'm always trying not to have my students follow me, but they find their way in, and then they find out, they're like, this was your dad, and I'm like, yeah, and I could do that for you. So do your homework, or at least get the girl next to you to do it and fake it like you did it. No. Oh,
that could cause so many problems. I
That's
love it.
what I'm here for. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that wants to help you out. So you know what?
Yeah.
Mr. Big's got you.
Definitely. You're in the right job, mate. There's no question that I can just tell. My guest this evening, my time in the UK, the afternoon over in New Jersey, has been none other than the son of Bam Bam Bigelow, the beast from the East. It's been Shane Bigelow, who's shared loads of stories about his dad. It's been amazing. I've learned so much, as I just said. And thank you so much for coming on Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's been a blast, mate. And we'll get you back on because, as you say, there's just so many more stories. We could have done 3 hours. We could have done 4 hours, mate, quite easily.
Oh, yeah. I'll show you around. I got dolls. I'm in a room that's a shrine to him. So, yeah, we'll be back on, brother. I can't wait to talk to you guys.
Cheers, Shane.
Thank you.